Namaste. On behalf of Chairperson Usharani Manne and the committee, I, Priya Gazdar, Honorary Secretary, welcome you all to the third installment of our Biz Talk series. Both were sons of the Indian soil. The hearts of both beat for the weakest. On this day, as we commemorate the birth of two of our country's most worthy sons, the need to pay heed to what they said all those years ago is still there, and in that lies our misfortune. Gandhiji said, "True economics promotes the good of all equally, including the weakest, and is indispensable for a decent life. It is a matter of the highest importance that we look to the common man, the weakest element in the society." And Lal Bahadur Shastriji insisted, "The economic issues are most vital for us, and it is of the highest importance that we should fight our biggest enemies, poverty and unemployment." From today's conversation with the inimitable Professor Anil K. Gupta, we hope to understand why it will be impossible for India to stay on the path of progress if we were to continue to ignore the treasure trove of traditional knowledge that resides in our villages, and how we can all play a role in reaching development deep into India's rural heartland. But before that, I invite Chairperson Usharani Manne to light the ceremonial lamp and deliver her welcome address.
Eminent guests, Professor Anil Kumar Gupta and Archana Garodia Gupta, past presidents, GB members, fellow chairpersons, past chairs, viewers, and my dear FLO members. Namaste. In recent years, the method of organizational change we today know as co-creation has been successfully adopted in the business sector. In a co-creation effort, multiple stakeholders come together to develop new practices, exchange roles, engage with the community, thus creating an interdependent ecosystem. When FLO Hyderabad set out to adopt a village under the umbrella of FLO's National Village Adoption Program, our interactions with the Cheryl art community led us to understand the lack of support and patronage for the craftisans. Our team stepped in with know-how on contemporary design, branding, marketing, market linkages, backward integration with raw material suppliers, and today we have a brand, Thirumani, that is slowly but steadily making its way into the public eye. Once perfected, this method can be adopted to revive many a dying art form of our state and maybe even other states. This is just one example of co-creation for social welfare. Organizations like FLO, with our vast membership of professionals and entrepreneurs cutting across industries and geographies, are enviably placed to make a difference, a positive difference. We have thinking minds to plan, a vast network to leverage, deep pockets to dip into. All we need is to make sure we have giving hearts and resilience, the perseverance to go beyond individual and one-time action, to stay on till the end, till the purpose has reached the farthest place and person it was intended for. Gandhiji famously remarked, "I have traveled from one end of India to the other end and have seen that in these humble cottages are to be found the villagers in whom you find the concentrated essence of wisdom." Our guest speaker today is best known for mapping, tapping, and experimenting with the grassroots innovations for sustainable development and policy level impact. He is the brain and heart behind one of the largest databases in the world on farmers' innovations with names and addresses of the innovators or communicators of ideas, whether these are drawn from traditional knowledge systems or come from contemporary creativity on the part of individuals and collectivities. We are honored to have you with us, Professor Gupta, and cannot wait to see your story, your vision, your hopes of a more inclusive India. Archana Garodia Gupta, the champion of champions, as declared by BBC Mastermind, is best known to the FLO family as our past national president, a linguist and a prolific writer of history, women's issues, retail business. She is regularly invited to speak on national and international forums. As a former student of Professor Anil Gupta, she brings a deep understanding of his work and ways to this session today. Thank you, Archana, for joining us here this afternoon. I can't wait for the powerful conversation to start. But before that, over to Priya for introducing you both to our audiences. Over to you, Priya.
Thank you, Usha. Professor Anil K. Gupta is currently visiting faculty at IIM Ahmedabad, where he taught for 36 years. He is also distinguished visiting faculty at IITB and founder of Honeybee Network, SRISTI, GIAN, and NIF. A CSIR Bhatnagar Fellow, he was previously member of the National Innovation Council, chaired by advisor to the Prime Minister, Fellow of the World Academy of Art and Science, California, and Executive Vice Chair, National Innovation Foundation, besides several other prestigious postings. Professor Gupta has been partnering with UNDP Global to build capacities of their accelerator labs in 78 countries. His action research interests include expanding global, national, and local space for grassroots inventors and innovators, linking ideas in the informal and formal sectors to ensure recognition, respect, and reward for them. A recipient of Government of India's Padma Shri Award, he has also been honored with the Humanistic Management Lifetime Achievement Award by the Academy of Management USA, adjudged as one of the 50 most influential people in the field of intellectual property rights around the world, received the Asian Innovation Award from Far Eastern Economic Review, and the Best Teacher Award, amongst many, many other honors for his prolific contribution in the field of economics, academics, research, and intellectual property. Radhika Agarwal, Joint Secretary, will now introduce our moderator for the day.
Thank you, Priya. Archana Gupta owns a successful gems and jewelry business, Touchstone. She served as the president of FLO in year 2015-2016. She has been working on various women empowerment initiatives like Swayam and a number of skilling and employment initiatives. National Chair of the FICCI MSME Committee for 2 years, she is currently a member of the BRICS Financial Committee from India, leading the SME task force. She is also on the board of trustees and governing body of IP College for Women, Delhi University, and on the governing body of Indian Institute of Management, Sirmour. Being a board member of the Noida Women Entrepreneurs Association, she helped promote a successful women's industrial park along with the UP government, Mahila Udyami Park in Greater Noida. Archana is one of India's leading quizzers and is an expert panelist for Kaun Banega Crorepati. She has authored the best-selling 2-volume, A History of India for Children. Thank you. Over to Priya.
Thank you, Radhika. Requesting members of the audience to please leave your questions for our speakers in the chat box. We will be taking them up in the Q&A session. And now over to Professor Anil Gupta, Usha, and Archana to unravel why mainstreaming traditional knowledge is essential for preserving the cultural uniqueness and the natural fabric of India. Over to you.
Namaste, Anilji. Your Shodhyatra, I want to start the conversation first.
Sure.
Yeah. Uh, your Shodhyatra has literally revolutionized the way traditional knowledge is being collated. The format of Shodhyatra seems to be inspired by Gandhiji, who said, India's soul is in her villages. Can you tell us what made you embark on this journey of discovery, and what has discovery, and what has been the outcome so far?
Well, this is very exciting journey part of my life because when we started Shodhyatra, one of the requests of the fellow members and the volunteers of Honeybee Network was that you go out and search for innovators. Why can't we go together? So I said, yes, that's a great thought. So in 98, when we started walking, earlier we were doing informal walks through the villages, but this was the first time that a group of 50, 60, sometimes 100 people will walk together earlier it was 10 days, now it's a week. In summer, we go to places which are hot. And in winter, we go to places which are cold. Now, you might wonder why, but the reason is very simple that when you go to people at a time when it is not so very comfortable, they don't ask you why you have come. They know you are not just a tourist. You have come here because you want to immerse in the rural realities. So we don't have to justify our credentials by going in a difficult time. And when we go to snow-clad mountains in winter, then also we don't have to prove why we have come at the time. Other point is that in the summer, people will have a little more time to talk to us. There will not be much activity in the farm. So that also helps us to organize this. And essentially, every Shodhyatra we learn from 4 teachers. A teacher within, teacher among the peer, teacher in the nature, and teacher among the common people. Now, or not everybody will learn equally well from each one of them, but certainly everybody will notice something that is worth learning from each of the 4 teachers. And as you can imagine, these teachers are available to all of us. When I say common people, it could be a driver, it could be a lift person, it could be somebody who does work at your home. To give you an example, which is my favorite example of how knowledge can happen anywhere and one can learn from anybody. So there was once a whitewash going on at my home, and I asked, and I was talking to the workers. One of them cut his hand and it was oozing out blood. So I said, let me bring the cream to put it on. He said, no, sir, just wait for a minute. He went out, came back after some time, and there was no blood coming out of his cut. So I said, what did you do? Sir, I applied the cobwebs, the spider's web, which I had cleaned a little while ago, and the blood coagulated immediately. Now, if you go to net and search for the property of the spider's web, you will find that it is the most effective blood coagulant. Not just effective, most effective, compared to all other medicines available in the market. Now, here is a whitewash worker who is teaching me something about solving a problem more efficiently than what I, with all my tools of modern science, could do. So it is not just that the traditional knowledge is useful, but even the contemporary creativity. We came across many innovators in our Shodhyatra in different parts of the country, in Andaman, in Gurej Valley. Once we were in Gurej Valley, a little boy was watching and observing our activities. I think his name was Rafiq. Gurej is just next to Kargil in Jammu and Kashmir, northern part. So we went to the border area and then we started walking down. So when he saw the presentation of innovations, he said, I have also done something. So I said, what have you done? So can I go and bring it? So he went, rushed to his home, brought a fan that is made by salvaging a motor from somewhere and wired from somewhere. And then he said, I have a suggestion to make. I said, what is your suggestion? In every village, there should be a room where people should put the partly damaged electric goods or electronic goods. He asked me, when something goes out of order, not everything in it goes out of order. My God, what a profound statement. If your phone is out of order, not every part of the phone is out of order. There may be one connection which is not working. And he said, we will salvage. He was hardly 7th, 8th class. We will salvage the viable part, the functional part, and make something on our own. He gave a vision for a policy change in the country. Imagine if there was a room in every factory, in every community, in every society, where people could share their not dysfunctional or non-functional electronic goods. Children will tinker with them and bring out the things and make new things out of them. And also, it will be very good area for circular economy. So what I'm saying is that in Sodhyatras, we learn not only about solving problems, we also learn about traditional food. We organize biodiversity contest. We organize idea competition among children. So one child from Arunachal Pradesh, yesterday I was going through one of the slide, and she said, we should have a watch. We should tell the women when their menstrual cycle is going to begin. Imagine, isn't it a great idea? And if supposing some of the FLO members are working in the electronics industry or in the health sensor industry, and if they would like, we will connect this girl to them. Wouldn't it be great if this idea could work? Because I remember in my class, sometimes girls will just get up and go. And when I asked one of them, Pragya was her name, as to what happened, why did you leave the class? She said, sir, I forgot to bring my pads and suddenly I had periods, so I had to use them. I said, but why didn't you mention in the class? She was hesitant. As you know, girls would hesitate sometimes. And that led to some other changes, of course. So what I'm saying is that there could be lessons one could learn from children, from women, from men, from workers, from mechanics, from even teachers, school teachers. There are so many teachers I will talk about later who we have met, who have done a lot of innovations. So Shodhyatra could be very powerful. In fact, once I wrote a piece that even in industry, we should have Shodhyatra. One should walk on the shop floor and observe what workers have done. Workers do make modification in the machine sometimes when they import machine and it doesn't work, they make a small change here and there to, make it adapt to our needs. So there is no place where somebody or the other doesn't exist who is trying to bring about a change. Just that we have to open our eyes.
So, sir, wonderful to have this privilege of interacting with you and in front of my FLO family. So just as Usha ji had said, Professor, I had the privilege of being a student of Professor Anil Gupta when I was at IIM Ahmedabad. His way of teaching was very different from all the other teachers, and he used to really challenge us. And as part of his, I think just like the incipient part of the Shodh Yatra, he had taken us to villages to interact with the villagers. And I can safely say that for many of us, it was actually our first exposure to villagers. And, we got one-on-one talks with many people there. He used to routinely win the best teacher award, when I was there, because he used to really he used to challenge us and draw out the best from us. Now, something today is Gandhi Jayanti and also Lal Bahadur Shastriji's birthday. But the one thing I want to say, which I find a part of Gandhian thought, is that the change comes from bottom up and not from top down. And that each person, however marginalized, has to be recognized and respected for the knowledge and the capacity they have. So each person is not just a pair of hands or somebody to be helped, but they have a reservoir of knowledge, they have a thinking power, they are as creative as you or me. And the approach to development, I think also here I'd like to say something like what Grameen has done, where they were not trying to take a decision of what business or what the poorest of people should do, but they were just giving them a pathway or enabling them with money to be able to use their own mind and creativity to create a thing. So this is, I think, very much part of Professor Anil Gupta's thinking. And even when previously I've discussed with him what we should be doing, what we can do for a village, even during my term as president, I would frequently show up at his house and discuss things with him. He would say, why don't you ask the people who you're trying to do things for? You are not the only person taking a decision. The people who you're working with in the village, they also have a view on these things, and their view will be probably more correct than yours. So that was something which I remember, which made me think. Now, and I have a National Innovation Foundation, Professor Anil Gupta had set it up, and they used to do these large exhibitions, fairs in Rashtrapati Bhavan, which I would routinely go and visit, and you would see the kind of creativity and the products which people were coming up with. So we can keep, there is so much to talk about, so many experiences for so many years. I thought that in this talk, since we have about half an hour more and then question answers, maybe we could focus on, what each of us as individuals or in our companies, what we can do to improve society, to help people help themselves. What you could suggest, maybe. I thought we could divide it up. So many of us um, are people who are living in urban spaces, and we work with NGOs or we work with the underprivileged in urban spaces. So, sir, could you suggest some, maybe, 2, 3, 4 things that we could do as individuals living in Hyderabad? Mostly the people here are attending are in Hyderabad, but we do have people from across the country, FLO, because this was circulated in the larger FLO group. So I've seen some people who are part of Delhi or Calcutta or whatever. What we can do, something unique that we could do to help people in urban spaces.
I would also show some examples of innovation that we have scouted on our way, so that the participants in today's meeting get an idea as to what are we meaning when we talk about innovation. So it probably might be a good idea if I take some time to show some examples and then illustrate.
Yes, of course.
Is it all right?
Yes.
So I'll share my screen. And yes. So what I was trying to say, that when I titled my talk today as Innovation Antyodaya, which means that we bring out the innovative potential of the last person in the life. The worker, the guard, the lift person, anybody for that matter, the housemate, anybody who we interact with, because these people have very little material resource with them. Only thing they can leverage is their mind. Because you always build upon things that you are rich in. They are poor economically, but they're not poor in mind. So they leverage their knowledge. And we look for, as you can see, this duck, which is moving in a different direction than the rest. This swan who is oddball, we look for such swans who don't fit the trend, who have the fortitudinous capacity to be different. And we try to give voice, visibility, and velocity to the creative people. So a nameless, faceless person comes in contact with a network, gets an identity. That's what we do. And I would like to suggest a few examples of that. But I want to take a minute, half a minute, to play one bhajan of Gandhiji, which all of you have heard. But in today's context, both to remember Shastriji and Gandhiji, this will make sense. It's very interesting that what Gandhiji said, that one of the driver, and we believe we have translated that in our work as a driver of innovation, driver of Sarjanshilta, driver of creativity, is Samvedana. he says in this bhajan, it was favorite bhajan of Gandhiji. What is being said is that Vaishnav is the one who feels pain of others. There's a beautiful word in Telugu, in Hindi, in Marathi, samvedana. Some means equal, Vedana means pain. When we internalize the pain of someone else as intensely as that person feels it, it doesn't remain that person's pain, it becomes my pain. When I try to do something, I do it to solve my problem. I'm not trying to be, I'm not doing any obligation to anyone. So how has it worked? So there are several examples that Gandhiji had. He announced an award prize of 1 lakh rupees in 2019-29 on July 24th. Is it possible, for example, that if there's a problem in our society, and let's say FLO members decide that this problem, we are not finding existing solution satisfactory, so let us give a challenge award. And challenge award could be 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 25 lakh, depending upon what amount we offer. And mind you, when Gandhiji announced this prize, he opened it to inventors and engineers all over the world. And this was an award for redesigning the spinning wheel. And he defined the boundary conditions, how much weight it should have, how much of maintenance cost there should be, how much should be the productivity of the solution. So all of these conditions were defined. So it's very important that when we issue a challenge award, we also define the boundary conditions of the solution that might be there. And I'm sure you will find that this can work wonderfully well. Let me give you a few examples. And this is from Andhra. You have all heard about Maleshwaram. Some of you might have seen the film which was made on him. This is how his mother would do asu for Pochampalli sarees. And it used to take, in one day, one could do for 2 sarees. 9,000 times your hand has to go like this. It used to pain. So she said, look, I can't do this work, find out some other work. And Maleshwaram said, I don't know any other work. 10th pass person, he was under great debt, but he designed this machine. He, as you know, been honored. He has been an innovation scholar in residence. And this has changed the Pochampalli weaving tradition in the state now. This is an electronic, computerized designing machine. The man learned electronics, he learned engineering, he learned fabrication, he learned coding, he learned programming for the controller. All of this he learned. For what? For reduce the pain of mother, samvedana. And that led to innovation. This was another technology we licensed to one of the companies in Hyderabad long time ago, and we put the name of the innovator on the package. Now, all of you come from business families and you make a lot of products. And if there are inventors in the company or from where you have taken the idea, innovation, and if you put the name and identity of that innovator, it motivates like nothing else can, because you are saying we are branding through an authenticity of someone who solved a problem. Look at this example. This girl, Shalini, as she was at that time in 8th class, she saw the walker many elderly people use, and her grandfather couldn't use the walker on the step. The team and I have solved this problem, licensed to a company. So when you go up, the walker becomes smaller. When you come down, the walker becomes taller. Isn't it a good idea? Such a good idea, such a simple solution. But mind you, in United Kingdom, in USA, such a walker does not exist. So one of the ways it will be that we organize idea competitions. Honeybee Network will join hands with you in schools, in colleges, and look for such creative girls and boys who have solved problems, who have ideas to solve problems. She didn't make it. Somebody else made it. Fabricators made it. So many times, I was talking to the colleague who was one of the sponsors of a meeting today, who is making this machinery for cattle feed. Now, I'm sure their workers will feel happy one day a week or one day a month, working with an innovator and helping them to fabricate. That's the second possibility. First is look for creative ideas, and through organized competition in the government schools, in the private schools, wherever, in every district. And Telangana State Innovation Council can also join hands with you, because I know the people, we have a MOU with them, so we can work together. And industry, Telangana State Innovation Council, GIAN cell there and here can work together. And we can develop large number of such solutions. Such a solution, such a walker does not exist in United States of America. This is the first time. Look at this girl. Her name was very tiny girl. She was Chaya Thakur. She could not reach the taps. Many of us have observed this problem. Look at this boy. He's bending and somebody else is standing on him. This is the pity. We have seen this problem. What is the solution? She said, why don't you tilt the glass, tilt the bike? For 70 years in this country, we have struggled with this problem and a child comes out with a solution. Because she can't reach the level of the tap. But tap can reach her. Beautiful sir. She got an award from Dr. Kalam and also from Shri Pranam Mukherjee. We also organize competitions around the world. So in Malaysia, one boy came out with this idea that why can't a Swiss knife have a projector? Mind you, I bought in 2009. This was in 2006. He was 3 years ahead of the industry. I got a mobile phone with a projector in 2009, first time. But this fellow had thought about it in 2006. So if sometimes the kids will come with an idea which might seem outlandish, might seem impossible, but then we must allow that idea to be fermented and articulated. Who knows, something happened. Now, this is the problem that all of us, Archana, you must have realized it many times when we are sitting long and writing. You must have felt pain in your back, isn't it? Now, if you're not sitting properly, then what is this? These girls are saying, Kulsum Rizvi and Tarun Anand are saying that the screen on the computer will go blank. Message will come, sit properly, I will not let you do work. Or the chair will start singing. Now, we all need such reminder because many times we bend like this, we move on the edge of the chair, and that causes pain. Now, who is thinking about it? Children are thinking about it. Kulsum Rizvi, 5th class girl, Tarun Anand in 10th class, in different parts of the state, have thought about this problem. Look at this example. Many times there are hand pumps in the schools still in many parts of our country. One hand pump, small primary school, there's a queue, small girls and particularly little children, they are sometimes not able to quench their thirst because big boys bully them. Here is a very simple 400 rupees example. 6 kids can drink at the same time. 1 kid would pump the water and 6 will drink. Such a simple idea. 400 rupees, 6 kids get water at the same time. Simple solution. Many times these ideas don't scale. So one of the things that FLO can do is whichever mission you choose, whichever innovation you choose, maybe 1,000 villages, 1,000 schools can be linked with that. And one of the ideas that we got when we were walking, this was from Jharkhand, that there are a lot of artists in the villages. Now, with a lot of people out of job because of COVID-19, artists are also not getting market for their product. Artisans are also not getting market. So let us say if one wall of every factory, one wall of every government school could be painted by the traditional artists, children will find the school more enlightened when they come back to school in a month or two. School will look very nice, beautiful. The artists will find their payment for compensation for their livelihood, and their mobile number will be there. If somebody wants and says, look, in my industry, I want the wall to be painted. Can you do that? Now that fellow artists has become entrepreneurs. So we could create demand for such skills which are otherwise going out of fashion. Look at this. For wheelchair-bound people, and I'm sure some members of your group may be unfortunately belong to that category, they can't go very far on wheelchair. Those who can afford a car can get a car. What Jignesh Bhai has done, has designed a 3-wheel carrier. Very simple. And you can now, he can board this. He's in Ahmedabad, yourfreedomwheels@gmail.com is his email. And now you can go wherever you want. 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers, alone. In the car, somebody needs to make you sit and then take you out, not here. Such a simple idea, such a simple idea. So there are a lot of such ideas that we got. During COVID-19, one of the problems we felt was that there are a lot of children who don't have smartphones and who don't have access to internet. How do we reach them through online education? We can't reach them, isn't it? So one teacher, Ashok Bhai in Banaskantha, what did he do? He talked to the cable TV operators and taught through cable TV. And the teacher collected the smartphones and distributed them. Now imagine if FLO members decided to collect all the smartphones which are slightly out of order or even working but old models, and I'm sure every house will have a few smartphones like their own. They could be collected, maybe 10,000 of them, maybe 1 million of them, and we give to all such children who are out of reach of online education. COVID is not going away soon, unfortunately. What do we do? These children should remain out of education? No, they should not remain out. So this is another example, Archana, of what can FLO do. They can pool the small solutions that are lying scattered in every house, create an impact by by collaborating. I'll just show you one or two more videos of innovation so that you can see how innovators have solved the problems. Here is Mr. Saidullah from Champaran, where Gandhiji had gone.
नाव का इंतजार मुझे गवारा न था, मुझे मेरे प्यार से मिलना ही था। मेरी बेकरारी ने मुझे आविष्कारी बना दिया। पर प्यार को भी आविष्कार का सहारा लेना ही पड़ता है। आविष्कार ही मेरी नूर का नूर है, नई खोज ही मेरी जिंदगी का जुनून है। माई टेक्नोलॉजी।
Yeah, but what I was trying to say is that there are large number of things that we can do. Yes. We can collect it. We can collect innovation. Now, this amphibious cycle did not go very far. But Himayat Sagar and many other lakes in Hyderabad have problems. They have aquatic weeds. There was an innovator there who had devised a machine to remove water hyacinth from the lake. Even one could use cycle race there. One can use the amphibious cycle to do cleaning of these lakes. So what I'm trying to say, there is a huge market waiting to be tapped for the innovations which have not scaled up. They have not scaled up because the triangle of innovation, investment, enterprise, this triangle, we couldn't complete. This is the triangle. And unless we link innovation, investment, and enterprise, this is the triangle of GIAN, the institution that we set up in 97. So let us say innovator doesn't know where the entrepreneur is. Entrepreneur doesn't know where the innovator is. Both of them may not know where the investor is. These three could be three different people. And there are three different skills. We need to converge them. FLO should become the platform which will bring them together. So innovator, investor, and entrepreneur. Because entrepreneur must make batch by batch consistently same design. Innovators can seldom make two things alike. They are incorrigible improvisers. They keep on improving things. And the result is therefore that people can't, they don't succeed in creating market because market requires standardization, market requires constancy. So I would say that there is a possibility. There's a possibility that we can create different kinds of models, which can help FLO to tap their existing potential, potential of collaboration, potential of pooling their skills, potential of pooling their underutilized resources or unutilized resources or dysfunctional resources, and put them together and make it available for those who can make better use of them, for those who deserve but can't desire many times the help of FLO members. They deserve the help of FLO members, but they cannot desire it because they can't reach it.
Sir, I had seen this water hyacinth cleaner, in the National Innovation Exhibition in Rashtrapati Bhavan. So this is something. So, for example, in what they were doing is they were collecting the water hyacinth, and then there was a fodder chopper which was chopping it, and then they were using it for cattle. So it becomes something useful, and it makes sense to do it in terms of economics. So similarly, sir, there will be many such products which are good for the environment, which are sustainable products. And I think today a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs would like to invest in producing sustainable products like this or other products. So amongst the audience, you will have various women who are interested in investing and creating enterprises based around sustainable products. How would you recommend they go about, what are some of the products they could produce, and how would they reach out? What is the process they should follow to
see? One of the greatest resources the FLO member has is their social capital. For example, I was telling you other day that if you spend 1 hour in calling your friends for opening gates for an innovator, you will open more gates in 1 hour than the innovator can open in 10 years. Isn't it? Because you know so many people around the country and around the world, you are huge networks, you are huge contacts. That innovator can't make those contacts. The class of people can't make those contacts. So what I'm trying to say is that money is important, but more than money, your time is important. Your network of connection is important. To me, that is most precious resource that FLO members have. A network of connections. So with different verticals, we can divide innovations. And when you can say somebody is in agriculture, so we have, for example, a groundnut. Andhra Pradesh has a lot of groundnut cultivation. But you don't have a groundnut digging machine and you don't have a groundnut picking machine. We have both in Gujarat. Nilesh Bhai has both of them. And it also thrashes while moving in the ground. Now, how to get that machine demonstrated in Andhra, and then if it suits the farmers, get it fabricated. We can get it licensed to local manufacturer. No point in carrying such a huge machine from Gujarat all the way to Andhra because the transportation cost will be so much.
So as you're speaking, something is coming to my mind that, we have a mentorship program in FLO for women entrepreneurs. You have senior entrepreneurs, mentor younger entrepreneurs. It would be interesting to see if there are FLO members who would like to create a one-to-one mentorship relationship with these innovators.
Yes, that is one.
Something, if you create a champion or a mentor, people who want to do this, who have certain business capabilities or whatever it is. And if one sets up some sort of connection on a one-to-one basis, because as a group, quite often things get overlooked. But if you have one person, even if they are, something will come out of it.
I agree that there can be a very viable mentor network. And mentor network can help not only in making connections, but sometimes mobilize resources.
Yes.
And third, connecting with the policymakers. For example, some of the members sitting in your group might be connecting to education department, indirectly or indirectly. Now you pick up the books, textbooks, and show me how many lessons are there in these textbooks of innovations by common people. You wouldn't find many. Now, what are we trying to imply? Our children should not feel inspired by the stories of those who have solved problems by themselves with much less endowment than our children have. And they will, first of all, become humble, that despite the resources, this idea did not come to them, but an ordinary girl, ordinary student, ordinary farmer, ordinary artisan could think about it. And second, they will feel inspired that if this much can be done by someone who didn't have resources, I belong to a family which has resources, I should do more. And that's the spirit we want in our young people. They should feel provoked, they should feel unsettled, they should feel impatient with inertia, isn't it? Yes. And that will be possible when they get exposure. But today they are not getting exposure. So I would say that those who are in cable TV business, those who are in TV business, those who are in education content, those who are in textbook business or publication business for that matter, can't we just make it possible? Even in the packaging of food, for example, you can add small stickers. When Binaka toothpaste used to be there, they used to bring small trinkets in that toothpaste pack box. We can put small flyer, a small USB drive or something on the innovations with certain kind of products, so that when you are buying air conditioner or you're buying, let's say, an Almira or you're buying furniture, you also get a flash drive, pen drive with innovations as a gift from the trader. Now, these are new ways. Nobody has done it, but it can be done. We have to create new business models by which one drive will cost maybe a few hundred rupees. If somebody can sponsor, let's say, 1,000 drives mean 1,000 schools can get flash drive loaded with videos of this kind of innovation, isn't it? So we could do that and diffuse this widely, rather than asking the innovator to diffuse everything. One of the questions one lady, Ms. Sunita, had asked about that, how do you scale? Scale, first of all, scale should not become enemy of sustainability. There's a long tail of innovation like this. Some innovation diffuse very widely, some less, some less, some less, some will not diffuse. Some innovations are niche-based. If there's a rare disease, 10,000 people are affected by the disease, drug developed for the disease will only go to 10,000 people because only that many people exist who need that. So don't expect every innovation to diffuse. If there's a lake cleaner, then it will only work in the lakes. And you can count how many lakes you have, that many machines will only sell. You can't sell more than that. So naturally, we need to ask ourselves that yes, scale is very important, but niche-based solutions are no less important. And who will achieve this scale? The innovators themselves are not smart enough for sometimes to be able to achieve scale at the level at which they want. Somebody has to help. And that help can be by the FLO members. FLO can create different kinds of platform for scaling platform, for spawning platform, for seeding platform. So let's say there are 4 things I feel that innovation club in schools can do. Search innovation, spread innovation, celebrate innovation by inviting innovator to the classroom, and sense the unmet need. If we could do the 4 things in every club, and we can sponsor, FLO can sponsor innovation clubs in different government schools, then every child will look for creative ideas, will spread ideas, will be happy to organize meetings about the innovator with this class, and look for unmet needs. I gave this assignment even in IITB recently for elderly. What are the unmet needs of the elderly? Lot of problems. For example, in the night when they get up, they'd have difficulty in getting up. They don't have light near their feet. They have to go to the light switch. Of course, you have a remote, you have many other things. So how do we create inventory of unmet need, which can lead to solutions, not necessarily by the person who identifies the unmet need, but somebody else. So it can become a sport. You have parties to do many other things. One of the items in the party could be, okay, let's apply our mind and solve one of the unmet needs. So you have tea, coffee, and snacks, and also do some brainstorming on one unmet need in every party, and that need gets solved. For example, when you do roti in kitchen, you bend forward, isn't it? चकला जो है जब आप रोटी बेलन से बनाते हैं तो आप you bend forward. So height of the chakla should be higher. We found such chakla in Punjab, which was about 8 inches high. So then you can do rolling like this without having to bend on this, because the platform of the kitchen is not high enough to make you straight. So these are design defects in the kitchen. They are design defects in being every daily chore. Why can't we bring this kind of sensitivity to our young people? And FLO can facilitate connection between unmet need and somebody who can, and then they can offer awards for settling this unmet need. And these awards will motivate some children, some young people, some engineers, some fabricators to solve these problems.
So these are wonderful ideas, especially I think many of our members run educational institutions. So for educational institutions, one thing you've suggested is to have innovation clubs, right? One is to sponsor it in government schools and all, but even within their own institution, you suggested to have innovation clubs, maybe awards for and get-togethers, parties to solve unmet needs. How else do you think we can help children engage and be more creative?
For example, our databases are all open access. SRISTI.org/WSA, Techpedia.in has 200,000 engineering projects. We have abundant US patent database, almost 0.8 to 0.9 million abundant patents in techpedia.in/patent or GIAN.org/patent.php. Now, all these databases are there, but the innovation database is only in 4 languages: Tamil, Gujarati, Hindi, English, not in Telugu. So maybe FLO members can say, we have Brigadier Ganesham in Hyderabad who is running Palle Sujuna, one of the Telugu version of the Honeybee Network. I'm sure he will be very happy to help and join hands. So we could easily try and create local language versions of the knowledge that we already have, so that somebody can easily sponsor translation of 500 innovations, let us say. And a small booklet or a database of 500 innovations in Telugu would reach the children who don't know English or who can't really understand the concept as early age in English, which is fine. What I'm trying to say, there are so many things that we can do. And I'm happy that you mentioned about educational institutions. Educational institutions are the hub where minds are formatted, just like computer disk is formatted. We are in the business of formatting mind. And when we format the mind, We can do many explorations. We can have small show yatras in the neighborhood of these schools and colleges where students can go and learn firsthand from the communities, look for innovation, look for the pain points of the communities, come back, brainstorm on them. Even if they can't solve, at least they become sensitive. There is a large part of tribal people live in the forest in Andhra Pradesh. Not 1 gram of chironji or mawa, whatever have you, or whatever, is processed in the forest. Not 1 gram. All of it comes as a raw material and then get processed in the cities, and the value addition takes place in cities, so that's where the income remains. Tribal people remain poor. Getting small machineries and making them available to the tribal communities to process in situ value addition, Where resource exists, we should add value there. Then the value will be available. Then the poverty will go away. So I'm saying that instead of working in few villages, which is also worthwhile because it gives us immersive experience, we take up certain challenges and change the society in 10,000 villages or 100,000 villages and make an impact so that you feel satisfied about your effort. And there is an energy, there's an untapped potential in each one of us. We don't know. Jamwant told what Hanuman could do. Hanuman didn't know that. FLO members are like Jamwant, isn't it? Or Archana can be Jamwant. Other members, Usha ji can be Jamwant. Priya can be Jamwant. We need to discover the potential, untapped potential that we all have. And we have enormous potential. My only problem is that I can't reduce my expectation, Archana. You understand? I can't reduce my expectation. Because why should I reduce?
I think
that's my job. I'm paid for it.
Yes.
That's what I've done for 40 years. That's the only thing I can give to my students, my scholars, my friends, my expectations are my only gift that I can give. And I would say that it is possible for members of the FLO to raise their expectation from themselves and bring about a huge change, create new models which the whole world should follow, not just FLO in India should follow, whole world should follow. So, our engagement with the communities is very little today. I always say that let us look at open source content. I told our students of Shodhyatra course in IIMA, in 2012, one student made the spreadsheet of all CBSE syllabus, all topics, all subjects, all classes. So a spreadsheet was made. Till 2018, I couldn't do anything much. Then I told my students, I'm not taking you for this course to Himalaya this time, unless you create content and fill each cell of the grid. They could do it. 200 GB data was done by this batch of 30 students. 30 students in 1 month created 200 GB. They pulled this data available in open source. Now it is in English. We need in Telugu. But all this, and now we take it on flash drive. I didn't know how to share it with the students who do not have computers. So I told in the class, look, now I have the content, but how do we deliver it? Students said, you don't know about OTG cable? I said, no, I don't know OTG cable. They said OTG cable makes it possible for a pen drive to connect to the smartphone. They taught me. I think our young people should be also challenged. The young members of the FLO will bring energy that many of the senior members may not have because they are much more adept about technology. They know what is happening in the latest front. I did not know, for example, of OTG cable. So for 6 years, I was stuck that unless we have computers, how will we deliver content? And they gave me 1-minute solution. A small cable connect. Now you have seen one micro USB on one side and the USB on the other side. One side you attach to pen drive, other side you attach to smartphone, data gets transferred. Now teacher can show on the smartphone wherever they have the content that we are distributing during our show. So imagine there are about 30,000 villages or in the combined Andhra. Now there may be 18 to 20,000 villages in Telangana and same in Hyderabad. Getting a flash drive with content to every government school should not be too difficult. So let's say we calculate the cost for 1 to 8, maybe 450 rupees or 500 rupees. Then 9 to 12 and 6 to 8. Now the new education policy has divided into 4 categories. And we could create flash drives of that and ask people to sponsor how many schools. One district, one industry can do that, One block can be done by one industry, if nothing more. One block has about 100 villages, mandal, and those could be covered. I think we should start with big dreams, and it's all right if the people who will join, I mean, if the flash drive containing open source content in local language has to be delivered to every school, it should be possible. In 1 year, we can do that. And these children will have the same content that our children have. That means the asymmetry between the privileged children and the underprivileged children can be removed in 1 year. If we can do that, then competition for our children will increase. Because children from the ordinary houses now will also compete for IIMA, IIT, and every other position. But that's what will lead our country to progress, isn't it? Usharani, you asked a question in the beginning. How will we change the rate at which we progress? The rate will change when our society becomes meritocratic, and meritocracy not just among the privileged children, but also among the underprivileged children, who lack nothing except opportunity. And it is our role to provide opportunity.
So wonderful. We've come up with some wonderful projects for FLO to take up, one is the, water hyacinth, the clearing the lakes. The second is setting up innovation clubs and partnering to set up in various government institutions. The third is gathering mobiles and getting them to villages. And now this flash drives, getting content in local languages to flash drive. I'd like to bring Usha ji into the conversation here because she is chairing FLO this year, and we also have the next person. We also have the incoming chair. So, Usha ji, would you like to discuss what other kind of projects you could be looking at?
I mean, sir, we will definitely connect with you, and we also have a plan that we want to raise some funds and donate tablets to government schools, girl children. So we are working on it, and we will definitely take your idea of collecting smartphones from the people, and I will connect with you in that project, definitely.
That's very nice. That's very nice. And you don't know how much difference it will make to the lives of those kids. And then these kids, and we will do the preloading of the content on these phones, so that when they get the phone, they don't get busy with the games and all other things, which will distract their attention. We would like that they should know that there's a lot of relevant content in these phones, so that they can use these phones productively, and their teachers can use it productively. And then they will also tell them we have to build. There are 3 pillars of sustainability: technology, institutions, and culture. We have to make sure that they realize that not everybody may get a smartphone. So they must learn to share.
Yeah.
So kind of an oath they will have to take. We can't supervise, we can't control. But if they take oath of sharing with 10 other children or 5 other children, I think our job is done.
Yeah.
Because we can't, let us say, I should not say we can, but in the short run, it may be difficult for us to reach everyone. So in the first year, maybe we will reach 1/10, in which case 10 children per phone, maybe they can sit in a circle and study and listen to the program and look at the videos of the program and so on and so forth. I believe that education can be made much more inclusive and challenging, among other things. So, also art and culture. I would also wish that each one of you, wherever you are involved in any industry or any enterprise, one wall, this is my dream. I always feel that one day, anywhere you travel in this country, on the way you will find walls of government school painted by some folk artist. And you will stop there for a minute, look at the wall, and notice and take a photograph of the mobile number of the artist on that wall. And these artists will start finding jobs. They will start finding new orders. So you are building a new house and you want one wall to be in our GIAN office. If you come, you will find the painting, Pithora painting on the wall on the stairs. As you move, the painting moves with you. And there's a mobile number of the artist written there. We have done it in our office. I'm sure your FLO members can do in their office. One wall, just one wall painted by a folk artist.
So this is also a wonderful idea. In Delhi, there is a Lodi art district where there is a project where they've got artists, not necessarily folk artists, but artists to paint walls. And it's become a major tourism hub, people go there to just see it. Hyderabad also has a project, one of the members, Rekha Lahoti, is involved in this project of getting urban spaces where they get the external walls painted. But I think this is something which is, it would improve the quality of life for the residents of that area, and it would support and encourage folk artists and people. So I think this is a wonderful idea, and as FLO is already involved in something like this, I think this could be something which could be, even flyovers. Like sometimes now
Exactly,
the
exactly,
public
exactly.
spaces, why should we be looking at bare concrete? This is India and the land of, abundance
You
of.
know what we have done opposite IIMA? I did it when I was still in the institute, and with the help of students, we went to the municipal commissioner, who was a good friend at the time, Patra, who later became the airport authority chairman and secretary. He was very helpful, and he gave us on a very nominal rent space under the flyover. So we have a running center there called as Smile, student mediated initiative for learning to excel. And this is an initiative by our students for children of government schools. It's air conditioned, beautiful library. They come there, study there, prepare for their exams. There are some facilitative teachers who help them. Our students go there, they inspire. So imagine if under flyovers we had such learning centers for children. Many times, you know what happens? The parents of the children will come drunk. They will fight. And children always, in one of the Shodhyatra, they said, can't there be a place where we can quietly study? We can't stop our parents from fighting. I'm telling, literally, this question was posed to us. So that's why we thought we create this place. But I'm sure in every city, in every place, there are a lot of flyovers coming. And the land, the space under the flyover, why can't we dedicate it to performers, to performing artists, to the students, to the children of the government school? I mean, things which enrich the community life and increase the opportunity for disadvantaged people in the country. That will be the best tribute to Gandhiji and so on.
Thank you, sir. So much food for thought. I think I'll hand over for question answers, because there will be a lot of members looking to, learn more.
Thank you.
Priya?
Yeah, I'm just starting my video. I think, Usha, you had a question, right?
Yes, yeah.
So we'll start with you.
Yeah. Sir, you say that minds at the margin are not marginal minds. Where do you see post-COVID India after 10 years from now?
I would feel that a lot of us will start pooling our needs, buying things together, whether vegetables or grains, directly from farmers. In 10 years of time, I would feel that, well, many people are opposing what is happening today in the country, but I personally feel that if consumer and producer come together, particularly in perishable goods, it gives the producers a great comfort. Plus, there's a concept of CSAs, consumer supported agriculture. I mean, some of the people in the weekend, the children should take their children to a farm, let them do weeding there, and learn in the process how farming is done, how plants grow, what is soil, what is water, what are the insects, what are the butterflies. So I think our children should learn to immerse themselves, soil their hands. So I expect in 10 years, there'll be far more closer connection between consumer and producer of different goods. That's one. Second thing, I expect that government school will become the point of attraction. People will start moving children from private school to government school. It already is happening in some schools in Gujarat and in Maharashtra. In Gadchiroli in Maharashtra, there is a school and teacher name is Sudhir. We had a show there in Gadchiroli. There is a waiting list of children for his government school because there is such a good teaching there. So I think second remark, the transformation I want is, we studied in government schools. I know that at one time, these were some of the very good schools. And somehow over the time, middle class has taken away their children. So there's very little blending taking place between our children and the children of common people. And therefore, the empathy doesn't grow with the childhood. I hope that when the private government school will become elite school, so to say, the children of the elite will also go there. And they will develop some Vedana. So I'm very optimistic that after 10 years, our society will be much more cooperative, much more creative, much more collaborative, much more compassionate. That's my dream. That's my hope.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's very true. And it reminds me of what we were taught as children. Every drop makes the ocean. But somehow we tend to forget that.
That's right.
And also the fact that the collective action is a great way to make an impactful change.
Community is made when people cooperate.
Yes.
Whether at a water point, at sanitation point, at washing point, when people used to gather, that is how communities were created. We have stopped intersection with each other now. We are all individualistic now. How will community feeling come unless we start sharing something, some action, some things we should share? There should be a library of sports goods. There should be a library in every society. We should share books. We should share our sport gear. I mean, you have football, you play once in a while, it's lying idle. Share it. Let people use it. What's the problem? So what people, I think, should start pooling their resources for creating communities. I'm very hopeful.
Yeah. I give it to Priya for question and answers.
Yes, for our first question, we will go to Shashank Shete from Hardcase Engineering. Spotlight on Prakash. Shashank, please. Shashank, can you go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. You can be louder though.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
A little slow, but yes, I try closer to the mic, please.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, slowly, yes, little bit, yes.
Yeah. Thanks, sir, for that enlightening talk. So I am a director at Hardcase Engineering Works. So we manufacture machinery that makes livestock feed.
Yes, you mentioned that. Yes.
So that is mainly for making feed for poultry and cattle. Now, over a few years, we have seen that when there are crops that are being processed, there is a waste and a byproduct to these crops which can be used. So we have innovated and we have come up with a machine that processes these waste products and byproducts, and they can be used to make feed for livestock, especially in the rural areas. And since we have seen that, there is a dearth of green fodder in rural areas, do you think that, this could be this could have a major maybe impact and a market in the future where maybe we can, use these byproducts? Yeah.
Let me first mention about an innovation waiting to happen.
Okay.
The innovation waiting to happen is that you have different regions growing different crops. So you have Bajra region, you have Jawar region, your rice region, your wheat region. No, the dry fodder,
Correct.
the base staple fodder is of different maize region. So there is a different staples that cattle get, which also means that they have got different nutrients which they get. Unfortunately, and this is my complaint with my friend Shri in Amul also, that we have not yet recognized that we should not give uniform feed to cattle with the non-uniform base staple. You understand the point? So if somebody is eating maize fodder as a dry fodder, maize straw, they need different nutrient mix than those who are taking rice or wheat straw. So we should have modular approach of fodder, feed. You should have feed block 1, feed block 2, feed block 3, feed block 4, feed block 5. Depending upon what the base crop is, you mix them in different proportions and make your feed. That will be sustainable, that will be cost effective, and that will be useful for animals. Imagine if all the human beings were given the same food all over Andhra. I mean, that will be not very nice, isn't it? Because
yeah, absolutely, yes.
So we need to recognize that, and then again with different ages, you have young milking cows, you have old cows, you have bullocks, whatever. Bullocks are not too many now. So my suggestion is that we should make granularity, bring granularity in the feed industry and make it agroecological zone specific. I think that's where we can discuss it later offline more, but I would say at this moment, my suggestion is that there's a huge scope for innovations in the way nutrition is managed with diversity and inclusivity. With different base crop, different base nutrition, we should have. And I would go to further. We did a project in Panchmahal district, soil health, plant health, animal health, and human health. I did a study with 30 doctors and scientists together, volunteers. And I must say that these different soils in Andhra, for that matter, or Telangana or wherever, have different nutrients. Surplus or deficient. There are copper deficient or copper surplus soil. Now, when we give nutrient mixture, we obviously need to look at the base nutrient map of the region where this apple is coming from. We don't even look at that. So there's a huge wastage. We are overfeeding certain things and underfeeding other things. It's a wastage. So I would say that when you talk about byproduct, it is from the nutrient point of view that we should try to assemble different modules, different cartridges, so to say, of nutrients, and we can become more healthy. You know, there's a saying among the human food, feed people that if you take fruits of 5 colors, you get all nutrients. For animals, we should think of simple rules by which they can get all nutrients by mixing different modules.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
We have a question from Jyotsna Angara, our past chair. Can we spotlight Jyotsna, please?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We see that most children are put into certain stream and grooves, and their teachers and parents don't necessarily guide them into the creative thinking path or free exploration of the mind. So India of late has become more of a service-driven country and not a product-driven one. Where have we gone wrong, and how do we change that for our young minds to propel both innovation, creative thinking, especially because I do believe that we are a very capable country?
I would say that one of the ways in which we could solve this problem, because it's very difficult to solve it for all schools, all levels, but we can do something. After all, children spend about 6 hours in school and 18 hours at home.
At home.
And we really put entire burden of schooling on the school. 18 hours we don't plan for. And of course, I'm not talking about tuition, because tuition has become such a big menace that today you have made children forego their playtime, their story time, their loitering time, their fun time, because they are going from one tuition to another, which is a horrible mess. I think we have made them learning machines. They have no time to relax. And that's why they have become so fragile. They can't, the fortitude or the resilience in them is going down. They break down with very small stress as against huge stress that our parents and our grandparents would have been able to deal with. When society was much more unpredictable, there were a lot of shortages in our country. During those times, we needed more resilience, isn't it? But somehow we have not been able to bring that resilience in our children. So I would say that 18 hours should be planned better. For some time, let us forget about 6 hours. Whatever is happening in school, let us forget. Let us plan what we have in our hand. You know, I always believe that there are 2 things in our life. One is autonomy, second is agency. Autonomy is freedom to take decision. Agency is willingness or the capability to use that freedom. We all have autonomy. What we lack is agency. We think that those 18 hours don't matter. We think as a mother or a father, I can't influence my child's interest, but I can. The kind of library you keep at home, and I learned early in my life, makes a big difference to the way child will grow. The books they find around, many homes do not even have a library. I mean, I'm sure Archana has a huge library at home, but you will, Archana, agree that many of your friends don't have a library, though they may be earning a lot. Now, what have we done? We thought that library can be replaced by the school. No, it cannot be replaced by school. 10% of the income of a person should go towards books. 10% should be spent on books. Many people don't. And then they complain that our children are not looking around, looking widely, looking deeply. How will they look at around? You have not created an environment for that. So if all FLO members create libraries at home for their children, I would think that will be the first step in opening the mind of our children to the different ideas. I mean, there used to be a Delhi Public Library bus used to come to the Patel Nagar. That's 10 paisa they used to take for 1 week. We couldn't afford books at that time, but we could borrow in 10 paisa per week. And I read lots and lots of books at that time, thanks to my passion for reading. And I could do that. So my mind got broadened. Let me accept that. Because I could read so many books. They were my friends. So I think we should give this. I mean, today even the gifting of books has become out of fashion now.
Out of fashion. Oh, yes.
We should start resuming these fashions. In your parties, I mean, let there be book exchange. Everybody should bring one book which you have read and give it to somebody by lottery, by whatever. And let there be new traditions be created so that books become the essential item of our conversation. Then our children will also talk. When we are not, see, children listen to our conversation. In our conversation, we are not talking about books.
Yeah.
Then how will they learn to get interested in books? So I think we need to, and please appreciate that book is a book. I mean, digital libraries cannot replace a paper book. It has its own fun. So I would say that if we can create libraries at home, which are accessible to other people. I will share with FLO members, my personal library is about, I don't know, I have not put all of it, but about 5,000 books are there already. I have a catalog of all the books. And I all tell, and it is open to anybody and everybody who wants to read. Only I want that they should come and make a cup of tea for me and read as much as they want. I have not had many visitors, despite sharing my library openly. This is the situation of our society today.
Correct.
We don't find readers, even though I offer it freely.
Yes.
So we need to create that environment. We can't blame teachers. We can't blame school for it. I'm sorry. I don't accept it. We should take responsibility. Yes.
Thank you, sir. We are going to a question from Mr. Arun Dikshit.
Yes.
Who says, sir, many government labs like CSIR, ICAR have developed new technologies for some specific products. Example, cultivation and use of seaweeds in making different products, cattle fields, but they're not disseminating the technology protected under patent laws. How can a small entrepreneur access those technologies?
Very good question, Arun. And I know that today morning I was talking to IVRI, Indian Veterinary Research Institute, for Legacy of Gandhian Legacy for Social Technologies. And I was talking to them about how Dr. Y.P. Singh, way back in 1967, had tried to blend both knowledge of common people and knowledge of high science. I think this is possible to do that. Not everything needs to be licensed to the highest bidder. Public labs should create public goods. And this is an issue I will discuss on 5th again with the DG of CSIR. And we will try to create a pool. They have recently brought out a book on technology for rural development. And I'm sure there are many technologies which are available for licensing at very low price, 10,000, 20,000, 15,000. But I would say that some should be even open source. I'm a great believer in open source type solution, as you know. So it's a good point. We need to make effort of pooling such solutions that are available in open source. We have many technologies in our lab. SRISTI has a natural product lab. We have agricultural, veterinary, and human products. And we'll be very happy to discuss it with the small entrepreneurs who want to take them to market. And these are all, and benefits will go back to the people whose knowledge has made these products possible. So there's a direct link between the consumption of these products and the benefit being shared with the provider of knowledge.
I'd like to just say that I've used some of the products of SRISTI. They've taken out a range of bio-herbal personal products. So I remember they had a foot cream. Which
correct.
had given me. It was very good.
Yes,
actually.
yeah.
So they may be.
I used it once and my feet used to crack in winter. I have not had crack after that forever.
It was a very good cream.
It is one of our best products. Zymatic, which for eczema is very good. The pain one is good, and the crack one is very good. These three are very good. I must say that.
There are many, I think.
But we have not yet scaled them up. But I'm still admitting that we could not scale this because we need entrepreneurs who will fly with them. So Arun and other members of the FLO, if you are in this business,
it's a wonderful technology to license. They have a lot of these natural personal products and food products. You had
all of them will benefits from all of them will go back to the knowledge providers in every case. So you have added satisfaction of changing the lives of people whose knowledge we have pooled in these products. Yes, Priya.
So we'll take one last question, sir. And this is from Karan Shete. He says, you spoke about innovations and innovative products, but in today's world, technology has dominated innovation in all fields. Would you buy something that is innovative or one that is technology advanced? It's not always that both technology and innovation run along together.
Well, it depends. I mean, you have a very good reading device, a tablet, or you have a Kindle, and it doesn't have good content. What will you do with the technology? So a platform without content, without substance, without density and depth will not take you very far. After a while, you will get tired of it. You know, gadgets have some appeal for a while. I mean, all of us have in our homes gadget that we don't use anymore, isn't it? We bought them and then we never use them. I'm a gadget freak. I used to buy a lot of things, scanners, this, that. But unless it makes a difference to your life, you don't really use it too often. So I think innovations will always remain as a driver. And which innovation? For want of a better word, empathetic innovation. Innovations which are samvedana driven. The innovations which जहाँ संवेदना से सृजनशीलता पैदा होती है, where samvedana leads to creativity. Those innovations, inclusive and empathetic innovations, are the ones that we're talking about today on Gandhiji's and Shastriji's remembrance. Shastriji brought about a great innovation in business model. Amul was created as an overnight stay of Shastriji in a village of Anand. When he saw in the morning that the milk of a scheduled caste person and of a high caste person was being poured in the same vessel, he said, this is what I want my India to be. I mean, in the recent events, what has happened in UP and elsewhere, let us remember what his vision was. His vision was that if a platform can make high caste and low caste people putting and converging their outputs in the same vessel, and that vessel will go to the supply of milk to the consumer, this is the India we want. So let us not forget, that was a great innovation. Today, cooperative Amul has a turnover of more than 50,000 crore. The biggest brand of India is the cooperative brand, not Tata and Reliance, 50,000 crore. So I must say that because Sodi, the main director of Amul, comes to teach in my class every year, and I'm so happy about this. Therefore, Shastriji created this. He asked, Operation Flood was a product of that visit, and Mr. Jha was his secretary in 60s. So please don't underestimate the power of innovations to transform not only technology, but even supply chains.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for answering all those questions with so much patience. No wonder you were voted most admired teacher twice, not just once by your students in no less than IIMA. I will hand over to Usha to sum up the session for us.
Thank you, Priya. Sir, I would like to sum up this session with really great smile and lot of take back for our members. I'm really happy to be in this position to give a talk like this. And it's widely believed that on a train journey undertaken in 1904, Gandhiji read John Ruskin's "Unto This Last." And that was the inspiration behind his social and economic ideas. The Phoenix settlement that he established in Durban, South Africa, and the core guiding philosophy of India's path to development, Sarvodaya, or welfare for all, through Antyodaya, uplifting of the weakest. Professor Anil Gupta's examples and exhortations of reaching development and opportunity to every corner of the country are not only inspiring, but as we have all seen, entirely doable. All we need is the will to do. Professor, we would definitely like to come back to you for guidance on how to go about doing this, and more importantly, how to ensure that it is effective and long-lasting. Thank you both, Archana and Professor Ji, for this very, very honest discussion that has left me at least with goosebumps.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Now my
coming to Delhi on 4th, and I'll look you up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll, sir, we have a vote of thanks. I'll hand over to Uma Chibripati. She's our senior vice chairperson.
Sure.
Uma, please, over to you.
Sure.
Namaste.
Namaskar.
It is such a lovely day. Two great leaders of our country, Gandhiji and SRISTI's birthdays, and for FLO Hyderabad, it's a wonderful day to have this great session. Very inspirational. Thank you so much, sir. Give me a place to stand and I will move the world. How motivating even to hear these words. We are fortunate to have and listen to a person who's a scholar, independent thinker, activist, and who worked on innovations at grassroots level. He strongly believed and implemented that creativity counts, knowledge matters, innovations transform, and incentives, whether they are material or non-material incentives, they inspire. Professor Anil Gupta, sir, it is very inspiring listening to you. Yes, sir, we make sure that we follow and implement our commitment to ensure recognition, respect, and reward for creative people. I agree with you, sir. It is very important to address many social unmet needs, which are very basic, but still we overlook, and a lot to be done. Thank you for being with us and reminding us about our responsibilities. We try our best in our capacity to bring a positive change. Thank you so much once again,
Thank
sir.
you. And please tell your members that they are welcome as volunteers. They are welcome as critique of the ideas. They are welcome to join Honeybee Network and help us to take this movement forward in every nook and corner, wherever you have. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. Our gratitude to the multi-talented Archana Garodia for navigating the conversation in a very thought-provoking manner. Archana, you are a multifaceted person and I really admired your creation, Indian Women Who Created History. I thank you once again for joining us today. A heartfelt thanks to the gold sponsors Pullman Group, branding partners RBC Worldwide, event sponsors Shashank Shetty and Kiran Shetty from Hardcase Engineering Private Limited, and gifting partners Pushpam Publications. I thank all our past chairs, all the members of One Flow, all the viewers and members from the media who are with us today. Congratulations to the team who's behind the screens, worked hard as always, and the IT team for all the support. One of the carry home today is, in an accountable society that is fair and just, we cannot have two principles of justice, one for yourself and one for others. Whatever knowledge we learn or get from people, we must share back with them and they must not remain anonymous. Be the change you want to see in the world and choose better. Dhanyavad. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Uma. And what an afternoon of learning it has been. Usha, yes, even I had goosebumps, and going by the audience reactions and questions, yes, I think most everybody has goosebumps. So thank you so much, Professor Anil Gupta and Archana Garodia ji, for this wonderful, wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. It was very enlightening. And I hope, one other idea that just came to me is that, we have a lot of these small innovations. SRISTI has these innovations. Maybe does FLO Hyderabad have a village which it has adopted?
Yes.
So maybe you can discuss, maybe even the simple things like that water tap or small innovations which are there for villages, which may not overall cost more than 50,000, 1 lakh rupees for all of them put together. Maybe the village could almost be a showcase of how much the quality of life can improve with small innovations. It's something maybe you can discuss with him for little ideas. It may be something interesting to do. I don't know. Okay. Thanks, Usha. I will take my leave now. It was a privilege to interact with everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful, Usha. Priya, thank you so much.
So FLO members, to stay updated about all such curated events and activities, like, follow, and subscribe to our social media pages. We are now on Facebook, Insta, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And don't forget, we'll see you all on 9th at our workshop on terrariums, interior-scapes, and upcycling by FLO Hyderabad members for FLO Hyderabad and FLO in general, I think, across India. Usha, we are opening it up, right?
Yes, yeah.
So yes, until then, please stay safe, stay happy.